Motion by Councilwoman Sullivan, do we have a second?
You don't want to do that, do you?
I'm in a rush tonight, I got a lot to do. I will declare the public hearing open. Anyone who wishes to address us on the rezoning request? If there are none, we will close the public hearing. And we do have a motion. Councilwoman Sullivan. Do we have a second? Second. From Councilman D. Any further discussion, any other questions? If not, those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, passes. Fifth item is a presentation of the proposed budget for 2024-2025. Monty, if you want to introduce that to us.
Yes, sir. My pleasure. Thank you very much. Mayor and Council, you received the budget several weeks ago, and I'm sure you've had time to look it over and you're thoroughly familiar with it and full of questions about it. We'd say you've got budget orchestra session, probably no perfect place to do it. But, state law requires us to present the budget prior to June 1st, so this will be considered a meeting that portion of the state local budget, North Carolina Local Budget Act. Now, I'll start with general fund revenue highlights. I mean, that's the big one this year, with being a revalue year. We all, the county, every 8 years reevaluate property, increases tax values, and it's not the same across the board, as we all know. Some are larger than others, and it's difficult when you look at what the tax rates would be across, applying it across the board, because it's not static. If we already had a budget in place based on prior year evaluations, you got a better idea of how things are to mesh together. So, all things considered, we've got an increase this year's property tax value. We projected around $165,000. One thing you have to do in a revaluation year is you have to pretty much, we get valuations from the county, a reval from the county. Then we have to take a look at that, and we look at our tax base, and we can Rockingham's in a fortunate position to have a tax base that is more lenient towards commercial than it is residential. So you look at probably, where you think appeals will come from, what the county will do, and we have to make a reasonable estimation of, what they send us, of what it'll be reduced for under appeals. And right now, we do our best guess. We put some numbers in there. And also one thing you have to consider, you have to offset the valuation of automobiles, because you see we have $70 million worth of valuation of automobiles. They don't increase. So when you reduce the tax rate of vehicle, you're actually losing money from prior years over that, because they are not increasing value. So you look and evaluate that offset between what the valuation is we get from the county, what we think of probably, and it's just a guess, what that number will actually be based on appeals, because we have to set the budget before we actually know. So based on that, we're looking at a revenue neutral number of 47 cents. That's when we consider the offset for all those that I just went through. We are looking at a 5-cent decrease in tax rate to 53 cents from 58 cents. And so that will produce, right now, assuming everything holds or it's in the ballpark where we're at, about $500,000 a year revenue in a year. And of course, we all know if you're going to get an increase in revenue, it needs to be on the front end of revaluation. So you can carry that through your revaluation. We've been very lucky that we've been able to go through reevaluations. If you look historically, if you look in this budget, making it 8 years without tax increases until we had the sales tax fiasco in the county a couple of years ago. That's really the only exception. It stands out when you see what historical data, which I rely on heavily, making those decisions. And also you can see that we've historically, our tax rate has averaged 57 cents over that period of time. And so I think it's pretty clear when you look at the tax rate, tax valuations, where we're at and the ranges of that. I think a 53-cent tax rate based on the historical context of everything is probably a good number, to shoot for next year's budget. We add that, we are funding, I think, very little, next to no capital projects improvements. We'll cut out, and we've just had a chance to look through those. The budget, we're funding all of our non-governmental NGOs, Discovery Place Kids, and other folks from that, Arts Council, and other folks from that donations to the same level. We are increasing sanitation fees again, because as you can see there, with the fee increase, we'll have a $1,150,000 in revenue with the new fee increase, with a budget of $1,664,000 in sanitation, which requires $514,000 subsidy from other sources, whether it be sales tax, property tax, or whatever. And I had a guy, it's funny, and I don't know why he brought it up. I ran into him the other day through mine, and he asked me a question about the budget. And his question was, we are going to quit raising garbage fees. I said, and I know pretty well, I said, well, tell you the truth, probably not. We're trying to get it to where, we will quit raising garbage fees when it's self-supporting from fees. And I want to explain to him why, because if it's not supported by fees, it's going to be supported by a subsidy. It's going to come from tax rate, from folks who pay tax bills. They're going to subsidize renters and leasers, lessees, folks who don't pay property taxes, and by making a user fee, you spread that cost out for providing the service. And he accepted that explanation and understood it went on. And so that's we continue to do that. I did have a few comments. We've seen an extraordinary increase in earned interest income over the last couple of years. I think we foresee that continuing for the short term. We've seen some slight decreases in sales tax, and those have somewhat offset one another. So one thing that we'll do when we get this budget in place this year, we'll get an actual valuation to county. We'll find out how close to being right on we were, what that produces, and then we'll continue to balance sales tax, increase revenues from there. Sales tax decrease with interest revenue increases, and how that offset continues. So we'll continue to monitor that, from revenues, and then we'll continue to adjust our expenditures, to that. And you'll see we ended up the fiscal year in good shape. Those numbers are on page 2, 3, and 4. You see what the general fund balances are. You can see the valuations of history there. We still maintain that 133 full-time employees next year. We'll be given a cost of living pay across the board adjustment of 3%. Of course, you're already aware that health insurance premiums increased 4% with a renewal, which we were good with that. Our experience model is a little higher than years past, but still not over 100%. So we were good there. And you notice on page 5, I talk about a brief adjustment there we're making in the fire department, about $40,000 in salaries there. Mainly that's going to be geared towards increasing our firefighters' pay, onboarding them, and prices that are competitive with jurisdictions around our area. The chief did a salary survey. This is exactly what we did in the police department, and we've been doing it in other departments, make salary adjustments to be competitive. You also notice in public works, in water and sewer maintenance, we're making some adjustments there to increase the starting salaries there and onboarding, and to help make that more attractive and also geared towards retention. So, and you see between the two of those, I saw $65,000 a year. And our budget with the 53-cent tax deduction, with a reduction, with where we're at, funding our needs across the board, and these salary adjustments, and looking after existing personnel, we certainly can go into much more detail than that. That's kind of a breakdown in there.
So sales tax are down?
Yeah, they're slightly denied. Yeah, they are. Which is typical when you see, when gas prices, you always see an inverse. When gas prices go up, folks have less, expendable income right there at their disposal, and then they're turning, and it affects sales. And when gas prices are down, you typically see an increase in sales tax. There's a direct relationship with that. They're not down real bad, but they are off.
One point about the subsidy that we do for residential garbage, that's between 5 and 6 cents on the tax rate itself. That's being subsidized, $85,000 per penny.
Yeah, right now, currently it's 65, the new valuation, a penny would be worth around 85,000, so, and obviously,
And so
that's
that's
right, yeah.
$500,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's appropriate that we shift that to the user away from the landowner to some extent. Any other questions or comments on the budget? All right, then do we have a motion to set a public hearing for the budget at our June 11th?
Motion to set that here.
Motion from Councilman Lewis, do we have a second? Second from Councilwoman Sullivan. Those in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? The next item is setting our annual planning session, planning retreat, and budget workshop, which we need to have, obviously, between now and June 11th. So if you all have an idea, based on your calendars, how does the first week in June look for folks? Doesn't work for Bennett. All right. How do you all look at the beginning of next week?
I could do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we go
So Monday or Tuesday?
What about the 28th?
The 20th and 21st. Or we look at the 28th as well.
The Tuesday after,
The 20th would work, but the 21st.
Okay.
What's the time frame? I'm too small to get that to think about, sorry.
We start about 9 in the morning, and we wrap up at lunchtime.
Okay.
22nd will work also.
Or
That's my birthday.
Oh, you're gonna be gone for a second.
Yeah, I'll be on 22, 23, 24.
21st, is that 21st?
No.
21st?
21st of May.
That's next Tuesday, right?
Yeah, week from today.
John? Oh,
Very good.
I got some time on that.
okay.
But y'all can,
Yeah. So the 21st,
21st.
bring the addition need to give notice posted. Or we can adjourn this meeting to the 21st. Let's just do that. We'll do the same thing. The meeting will just, not adjourn, we'll just continue this meeting until the 21st, and we won't advertise. Okay, let's just do that.
We just, rather than adjourn tonight, we'll just continue this meeting over to the 21st.
Oh,
And that satisfies the public notice. Right. Very good. So 21st, 9:30, something like that. Usually gather at 9, begin about 9:30. Runs through early afternoon after lunch. All right. Next item is consideration of approval of the sale of 21 acres of land in our industrial park west. Monty, you want to tell us about that? I know you've been working on that for the last, off and on for the last several weeks.
Yes, you all have been kept abreast of the information on that. Duke Energy is interested in purchasing 21 of 25 acres of this parcel in Rockingham Industrial Park West, so it's roughly 21 acres. And they made an offer of $6,000 an acre, and they submitted required 5% deposit, and we did we followed general statute so number 168-269, which allows city council to accept negotiated offers, advertise and have a 10-day period for upset bids. We did that. The 10 days was up yesterday. We've got no upset bids. It was published in the paper. We got no upset bids. So the city council now is can legally accept this negotiated offer with Duke Energy to purchase this 21 acres of land in Rockingham Industrial Park West. And their intentions are to build a operations center for their field operations at this location. Very similar to what Piedmont Natural Gas has out there already. So so we have, I have the offer here. All I need to do is the council wishes to sell it, to make a motion and approve the sale. And I'll sign this tomorrow. We can move forward with the sale and transfer of property to Duke.
Very good. Thank you for your work on that. Do we have a motion to approve the sale of 21 acres as described in the packet?
So,
Motion from Councilman Dean. Do we have a second? Second from Councilman Wood.
that finishes up that part, right?
There's 6.7 acres of land when you go to the end of the road off the cul-de-sac there, but it's not, but you're right. To answer your question, yeah, there's not any lots immediately adjacent to the road to access, like this is the last one has that kind of access. The other lot that's beyond the cul-de-sac, it's low, it lays kind of funny, so it is 6.76 acres. And so it's possible that something could locate there that doesn't need the immediate road access, and it could do some cut and fill and use considerably less than that. So that's basically that is it. This was a 211 acre tract that we bought back in 1994 from the Fred Schofield family, their heirs. And this was a mirror image property. It's 211 acres on one side, 211 acres on the other. Me and John Lance and Buck Kitchen negotiated this sale. It's an interesting story there, Mr. Historian. One of the sisters that sold was getting ready to go on an antique trip somewhere in Europe or France and wanted a little money, and we worked out a deal to buy the property from them. I will note that this sale price does exceed what we paid for the full 211 acres. So we'll not only, and we develop the property with DOT money for the road, grants for water and sewer, and so now with this sale we'll have recouped our initial investment and filled up an industrial park. I think it's pretty impressive. And we still own, what's that, about 160 acres, 166 acres, something like that, out there. And you remember years ago, we cut that, harvested timber, and then we replanted it. So we own more land out there, and it could, probably not likely to be developed, but, we are growing pine trees on it that one day we'll be able to cut and have pretty good revenue source out of that. The remaining trees that are growing on the rest of that property, we didn't like it not to go to no good use at all. So that's pretty good standing pine trees. So they were planted, I forgot what year we did it, but that will provide additional revenue for the city at some point in time.
I appreciate that background on the park. I was going to ask you that after the motion. Because I think it's notable, interesting, fascinating that we're recouping all of our money with the final, on just the final sale of 21 acres in a much larger tract. So it's been good for, it's worked out well for the town. It's been good for economic development for the community of the county. So,
Well, I didn't want to reveal that during the negotiation.
very good. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right.
Can I ask one question real fast?
Sure.
Well, we're talking land.
Yes.
Down at Norton's Park, where they're cleaning out that land, wasn't that,
It still is, the city owns it.
okay,
And John and I met with him several times. They needed additional parking.
right.
And so just being a good neighbor, it's not that less than an acre or so.
Yeah.
We allowed if you go down there a little clear, expand this parking lot and use that to help supplement his business and what he does on Friday nights. They made a big investment there. So we still retain ownership and going to own it, and he just, for the
Well, I
value.
thought it was our land, and I
Yes,
knew you
yes,
had
it
said
is,
something
it
about
is.
the meeting part.
It is.
Well, good.
Instead of going through a bunch of red tape and
Right.
this and that, no more bigger parcel than it was, and impact, just go down there and clear it and use it for free parking. I hope that was okay.
Yeah. I was just wondering, I thought it was, yeah.
I think I agree, that's a good move. I think, if you look at what it's created for the community during the season and the number of locally owned food trucks, that like our locally owned restaurants, you're keeping dollars here in town too, when people would very well go out of town to eat the same meal. I think it's great for the economy, and appreciate what's going on down there. We'll move on then to business by visitors. Seeing none, we'll move on to business by city clerk.
Mr. Mayor, you'll find, council, you'll find a list of upcoming board appointments that will be addressed in June, but that's it for tonight.
Thank you. Business by city manager, anything further?
Just so that we, have signed the cap, we finally ran down to $13 million for our wastewater treatment plant. We ran it down. The only, which is good news, because, the state decided after they appropriated the money to pay 5% to administer the grants. So we're asking you $12,600,000. So we have signed a task order with our consulting engineer, Davis and Floyd, and they have begun the design on the wastewater treatment project overall there. So we hope, I don't know when to expect you to go out to bid. We'll know more over the next coming months, and I'll keep you apprised of that. That's all I had, Mr. Mayor. Project Jan kicked off, I have nothing coming up. So,
Good crowd, Plaza Jam as well. And a good band. They always are. Kim Williams is to be commended on her hard work getting good bands here year after year. Business by council members. Councilwoman Howe. Very good. Councilwoman Edwards.
No, I feel like just I missed 1 month, I feel like I'm a little behind, but I'll catch up, I'm pretty good at catching up.
Very good. Good to see you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Councilman Willard.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman Sullivan.
Sweet Delilah at the theater, so this is the last weekend, this is the last play I guess Mary's gonna be doing, so I encourage you all to, anybody out there to visit the theater and support them. I did see on Dave's thing from the report for the Parks and Rec, for the senior games, and at the park this week, and they even had pickleball games going on for the seniors, so there is interest. Another thing, and I know this is, and maybe something's been done, but I've had 4 calls in the past month on the homeless downtown. And I understood exactly what people were calling, and I shared my concerns, because as a citizen, I don't like walking on the street and having to walk around somebody laid out downtown. I don't like going to the food line and they're in their tents down there on the sidewalk. But it looks like, I don't know if you all have done anything in the past couple of weeks, but it seems like the problem has been addressed in some way. I don't know who or what, but whatever's going on, I do appreciate it, because it's sad to go by and come up from the Dairy Queen and see a lady laid out on the sidewalk. It's sad to walk downtown and you see one laid on the sidewalk, and I don't know what's been done, and I did call John, and I said, I know it's hard, and we can't say you can't, but I just feel like maybe police move it on, say you gotta go, but whatever, whoever's done something, it's better, and I just want to say thank you for that. Other thing, Monty, I guess what you said in the very end of the conclusion to the budget, that we have a strong fund balance reserves, which indicates that our city still remains in sound financial condition, and that's a good thing to hear.
Yep.
And so when we talk about the cut, the 5 cent cut, that's in property tax, that'll go down 5 cents, right?
Yeah, right now we charge 58 cents on the current valuation. You'll have a new valuation and the rate will be 53 cents.
Oh, all right, I'm with you.
And some people will see this, and some people will see a small increase, some people will see a large.
Right.
It just depends on your property, you evaluate your own tax. That's why I said during the thing, to me, the presentation, it's not static.
Right.
And we really won't have a handle on that until, we'll know next year when we have a settled valuation.
And I did tell John, when you were talking about sales tax, I think what's right here, and we all need to remember, we need to shop local instead of, we're all buying online, and so we lose our sales tax. So, we need to shop at home when we can. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sullivan.
People buying online.
Councilman Dean.
Councilman Sullivan took all my points.
I thought it was gonna be a quiet crowd until, Denise picked this up. I would like just to make a couple of points. One is to congratulate the Rockingham Rockets, who've had a phenomenal season. They won the regional championship, the conference championship in football, boys basketball, girls soccer, boys soccer, softball, and yesterday, baseball.
I jumped up last night, I heard police to the sirens coming down my road, and it was the police escorting them in.
And we appreciate that escort from law enforcement that welcomed them home. It's a heartwarming video to see the police leading the activity bus back in the middle school parking lot. But that's exceptional work from our Rockingham athletes, and we're very proud of that. Aside from that, I do have a proclamation to read for Municipal Clerks Week, which actually just concluded, and we appreciate the excellent work of our own city clerk, Sabrina McDonald. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now, therefore, I, John P. Hutchinson, Mayor of the City of Rockingham, do recognize the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2024, as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Sabrina Y. McDonald, Deputy City Clerk Kimberly M. Williams, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Dated this 14th day of May 2024, signed by Mayor John P. Hutchinson and by our municipal city clerk, Sabrina McDonald. We do not have a proclamation in front of us tonight to honor Memorial Day and Memorial Day observances. Those will happen on May 25th. Memorial Day is actually Monday, May 27th. But it is a day that we set aside to honor the deceased veterans who gave their lives for our country. And we certainly remember them as well. And if there are no other items this evening, do we have a motion to continue this meeting over to
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Tuesday, the 21st. We have a motion from Councilman Willard. Do we have a second? Second from Councilwoman Sullivan. Those in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? We stand adjourned.